Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Today I want to show you the Penguin Classics book written by Henry Eliot. And before I purchased this book, I actually was searching the internet to see if there was anyone out there showing this book, but I couldn't find anything. And so I thought I'll make a video myself. I'll first show you what the outside looks like, and then we will move on to the inside. On the back of the book there is a quote by Charles Dickens from Oliver Twist. As you can see, there's a bunch of different colors on the sides. So let's open up the book. So this is important. This is a table of contents, and as you can see, the book is divided into sections. So we have the ancient worlds, the Middle Ages, early modern Europe, and the industrial age. And what I like about this so much is that it comes in different colors. As you can see, I already used some tabs on the book, and I will explain to you what I was doing. First, we have a preface by Henry Eliot. Then we have some information about the first book ever published by Penguin Classics and some information about their older publications. I thought the paper was going to be shiny, but it's really not. It seems to be good quality and very thick. So here we have our first section, the ancient world. And so here I went ahead and already used my tabs. So what I want to do, what I want to use this book for is I am going to use the different colors of the index. And I'm going to use my tabs and tab every book that I want to read at the moment. And so the ancient world is yellow, and I started tabbing yellow. So these are the books that I want to read, and when I have read the book, I can take off the sticker. So there's always a picture of the book, and then we have a small section explaining what the book is about. I feel like this book will be able to help me in reading more widely. Like here we have ancient China, and then we have ancient Greece, and so on. So this is very interesting. It's also kind of a dangerous book because it kind of spurs you to make purchases. Okay, so let's read the preface that Henry Eliot wrote at the start of this book. Samuel Taylor Coleridge was said to have been the last person to have read everything. Nowadays, most of us need to be more selective. The 500 authors in this volume span 4,000 years of literary history, and their 1,200 books comprise over 500,000 pages of text. That means that if you found time to read 50 pages a day, every day of the week, it would take you 27 years to read them all, by which time the list would most likely have expanded further still. This book is intended as a reader's companion to the best books ever written. It is a book of suggestions and recommendations, drawing connections across the history of world literature, which will hopefully reacquaint you with old friends, introduce you to new titles, and suggest ways to map your future reading. It is also a celebration of an abiding series of books, which began more than 70 years ago and has grown incrementally and idiosyncratically ever since. Some books are undeservedly forgotten, none are undeservedly remembered. Geographically and chronologically, the Penguin Classics form the largest library of classic literature in the world today, and more titles join the list every day. In the 1950s, the editors were concerned that they would run out. How many more titles in the classical literature of the world are there? Asked Penguin editor-in-chief William Emrys Williams apprehensively after 60 Penguin Classics had been published. He needn't have worried. As times have changed, so has this extraordinary list. The definition of classic evolves and expands to embrace new languages, formats, and audiences. The titles in this volume do share three key qualities: literary merit, historical significance, and an enduring reputation. But within those elastic parameters, scholars are adopting new areas of study, translators are broadening their interests, and the general reader remains hungry for new books. So the list continues to expand. This flourishing is not always even-handed, however. A quick flick will demonstrate what a partial list it still is in places. There's a preponderance of 19th century British fiction, for example, and many great works of Latin American, Swedish, and Japanese literature are still missing. Also, only an eighth of the authors in this book are women, which may be because historically fewer women have written works of literature, but is more probably because many works of women's literature have been undeservedly overlooked. Publishing Penguin Classics has always been and will continue to be the Sisyphean task of identifying blind spots and filling the gaps. The classic survives because it is a source of pleasure and because the passionate few can no more neglect it than the bee can neglect the flower. This volume covers the history of literature from its origins in Mesopotamia to the end of the First World War and beyond in a few pages. The main body of this book includes every pre-1919 Penguin Classics title that is in print and available at the time of going to press, whereas the vaults display a selection of classics that have dropped out of the series over the last 7 decades. Authors' works are collected together, and where applicable they are all placed within the genre for which the author is best known. Each title is illustrated by its first Penguin cover. Parallel and previous Penguin Classics editions are also listed, and red dots indicate those that are out of print. These historical covers visualize the incremental way in which the list has accreted over time, like coral. It is a collective work of generations of editors, translators, typesetters, designers, and picture researchers, all of whom have expressed preferences, eccentricities, and enthusiasms to shape this living reef of world literature. In his essay on books, Montaigne declares that all he seeks from his library is to give myself pleasure by an honorable pastime, or if I do study, I seek only that branch of learning which deals with knowing myself and which teaches me how to live and die well. I hope this book brings you some of that same pleasures and introduces you to many more years of living well with the best books in the world. Henry Eliot, Editor, Penguin Classics, 2018. So I think this preface really sums up why this book can be a treasure chest in your collection. And I'm very happy that I gifted this to myself. I think I will get many recommendations out of this book. I hope you found this useful. Thank you so much for watching. And if you have any questions whatsoever about this book, Please let me know and I will answer them in the comment section.